Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Today, heat number 4 of my fountain pen tournament. The two pens. We've got the Jinhao 9056, fairly inexpensive pen from China. That's going up against the Ranga Santa, a not so inexpensive pen from India. Two very different looking pens. Join me now down on the table. We'll take a look at the pens, walk through the bodies, do some size comparisons, some weights and measures, a writing sample, then I'll give you my thoughts on these pens before handing it over to you to vote for the winning pen. Welcome down to the table. So here we've got today's pens, the Jinhao 9056. This is in green sandalwood. This is a wooden pen. Just give this a quick twirl for you. Nice looking pen there. And that's going up against the Ranga Santa. So here's the Ranga Santa. This was only available for purchase for a short while. That was back in 2022 during December. I haven't seen it advertised by Ranga since then, but you never know, they may fetch it back. So let's take a walk through the bodies. Starting with the Jinhao. So as I said, wooden pen. Classic cigar shaped pen, isn't it? We've got a dome at the end. We come on down. It's coming out quite sharply. We get the top there of the clip, but that's not where it's attached to the wood. We come down a little bit and there's a little attachment there where it comes into the wood. The clip, nice and springy. It's gold coloured and it looks like we've got some little facets on there. Quite nice. The cap itself then carries on tapering out till we get to the bottom of the clip, then we come straight. The bottom of the cap, from the front, it's blank. Around the back, we've got here some writing. In there, we've got the Jinhao logo, we've got Jinhao, and then we've got Heritage. Then we come on back to the front. You can see it. There is a drop down to the body. You can feel it. It feels quite sharp. The body looks like it's the same width to about maybe a third of the way down. Then you can actually feel it start to taper down. We taper down to that domed end there as well. With the body of the Ranga, I love this white and red acrylic. It is Santa, isn't it? You can see where the pen gets its name from. So we've got a point on the top, bit reminiscent there of some Italian pens like the Memento Zero. That tapers down extremely sharply. We come then into the white acrylic. That goes down for about 1 centimetre. Then you can feel the join between the acrylics. We then go to the red acrylic. And where we've got the join, we've also got the clip. The clip, quite a sizable clip, quite a springy clip, very soft there. We've got the word Ranga on it. It tapers in and then comes out into like a teardrop shape. The cap, same width all the way down. Near the bottom, we do start to taper down a bit, so there is a little bit of tapering there, which mitigates the drop down to the body. The body, same width until we get, I would say, about halfway down. About here I can feel a little bulb as we start to go down. Then we taper on down. Got another joint to some white, and again another pointed end. Let's take the caps off these. So with the Jinhao, half, 1, 1.5 turns to take the cap off. With the Ranga, half, 1, 1.5, about 2 turns there to take that cap off. Can I get these next to each other? Yes, I can. Look. So now we've got our 2 nibs. Now the nib on the Jinhao, this is not the nib that came with it. It came with a medium Jinhao nib. I've since swapped the nib. It's a number 6 nib, so it's easy to swap. What I've got on there is a Kiwi Pens, which is an Indian manufacturer. The Jinhao Chinese pen, Kiwi Pens from India, and it's a medium cursive italic nib. I'm just playing around with different nibs at the moment. On the Ranga made in India. This one, I've actually got a Yoho nib. It's a 1.1 stub nib. The thing with Ranga, they've got a wide range of different nibs. They've got Ranga nibs. They've got Yoho nibs. They've got Bokeh nibs. They've got gold nibs. They've got titanium nibs. They've got steel nibs. Loads of different nib choice. That's one of the things I like about ordering a pen from Ranga. And you then pick the nib you want when you're ordering the pen, Quick close look at the nibs. So on the Jinhao, this one's got some decoration on there. We've got a nice decorative border. We've got the words super smooth and then a circle. On the Yoho nib, it's plain apart from on the side where we've got the marking. There we go, 1.1 for the nib size. We can see a difference in the pen sizes. We'll look at that in a minute. Let's take off the bodies. So here's the Jinhao. So we've got a cartridge converter in there with the Ranga. Loads of threads on this. We've also got a cartridge converter. Both came with the converters. The Ranga, with it being all plastic, you may be able to eyedropper it. What I would say though is because this white and red are different units, there may be an issue with leakage. It depends how well it's sealed. It's not something I intend to try. I'm going to carry on using the converter, but I just thought it's worth mentioning. Let's swap on over and we'll do some size comparisons. Let's start with the standard size comparison. So we've got a Pilot Metropolitan and we've got the Lamy Safari. Both these pens are shorter than the pens we're looking at today. So the Safari, I would say, certainly is about a centimetre shorter than what I'm seeing with the Ranga, and maybe about half a centimetre to the 9056. So the two pens today, they are fairly sizable pens. Let's take the caps off. With the caps off, we've got a slightly different story now. The Jinhao 9056 is maybe even slightly smaller than the Metropolitan, only by a millimetre if it is. Definitely smaller than the other two. The Ranga still longer. We can see here the benefit of the number 6 size nib on the Ranga and the 9056. In the hand, we'll start with the Jinhao. The Jinhao, nice and comfortable in the hand, nice length. Could do have been a little bit longer. We've just seen that though, haven't we? The section, beautiful width, very comfortable to use. With the Ranga, nice length. This is perfect lengthwise. Section does feel a little bit on the thin side though. As you can see here, the section does taper down. There's a big lip there at the bottom as well. Because I hold my pens quite low, that's actually quite comfortable. Let's swap over and we'll look at some pens that are in roughly the same price ranges. The two pens I've brought in a Fountain Pen Revolution Darjeeling, 20 Aussie dollars. It's actually another Indian made pen. The Jinhao 9056, 20 Aussie dollars. The Ranga Santa, when I bought it, which was over a year ago, 145 Aussie dollars. As I say, I haven't seen them selling it since. And then I've got the Opus 88 Coloro, 146 Aussie dollars. Very similar story to what we were seeing with the standards. Unposted, the 9056 is the shortest, and by a long way, the Ranga is the longest. Let's pop the caps on. With the caps on, the Opus 88 getting a bit closer in terms of length to that Ranga, and the Fountain Pen Revolution, that's now the shortest of the four. Let's swap on over. We'll do some weights and measures. Here we've got the rule of measuring. Let's start with the Jinhao. So with the cap on, we're looking at 14.3 centimetres. Unposted, that comes in at 12.6 centimetres. It will post. Posted, that comes in, let me get that lined up, at 16.7 centimetres. The width of the body at its widest part, which I measured about here, that comes in at 1.54 centimetres. The cap, 1.71 centimetres. Then the section, it goes from a respectable 1.17 up to 1.24 centimetres. I do find, as I say, width-wise the section nice, lengthwise does feel a little bit on the small side. With the Santa, with that Ranga, let's fetch that one in. So the full pen, 15.1 centimetres. So a good size more than that 9056. Unposted, 14.1. An awful lot more, but we saw that in the size comparisons, didn't we? Again, it does post, and posted, we're looking at 18.5, a beast of a pen when it's posted. The width of the body, I measured about here as being the widest. That's 1.4 centimetres. The cap, 1.6 centimetres. Then the section Goes from 1 centimetre down here at its narrowest, all the way up to 1.2 centimetres here. We'll swap over and we'll fetch in the scales of weighing. Here we've got the scales of weighing, so the full pen. 40 grams for that 9056. Body alone, then get it to stop rolling, 26 grams, and then the cap, that comes in at 14 grams. Remember, there is a little bit of ink in this. With the Santa, 27 grams for the full pen, noticeably lighter. I think that's because of the wood. Body only, 17 grams, and then 10 grams there for the cap. We'll swap on over, we'll fetch in the notepad of testing. Just dropping in to interrupt your regular programming. Would you like to help support the channel? If so, please consider joining as a member. As a member, you'll get early access to my videos. I normally upload them a couple of days before they go out, and as soon as they're uploaded, they'll be released to members. There'll also be a shout out at the end of the videos, and then as we get the members coming in, we'll actually chat among ourselves and work out what other perks, what other things you'd like me to add in. You know, would you like maybe a monthly live chat just for members? All down to us. So please, if you can, consider joining the channel. A link will be in the description down below. Here we've got the notepad of testing. This is Oxford Optic paper. It's in a black and red notebook, an A5 notebook. We'll start with the Jinhao. So we've got here a Jinhao. Not a good start. It was right in fact. I think this is because I've had the cap on and off. Let me just give this a scribble. There we go. We're now writing. So we've got here a Jinhao 9056 with a medium cursive italic nib. Price for this pen, 20 Aussie dollars. Obviously, I paid extra for the nib. I think that was about another $15. The ink is by Diamine, and it's Wild Strawberry. I haven't used this ink for ages, so I thought I'd give it a go now, and I've actually got the same ink in both pens. Drying times, this is immediate, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute. After a minute there, that one's nice and dry. Let's look at line variation. This is where it's interesting with this nib. So, going straight down, got a very wide line. Going across, reasonably sized line. So going down with pressure, don't really see much of a difference. And again, going across with pressure, feels a bit more scratchy, but I don't see a lot of difference. So none with, none with, none with. Going to move the mic down to the page so you can hear the pen write. I really like this combo. The nib, very nice, it's smooth. There's a little bit of feedback to it. It doesn't feel like it's catching the paper. I've got a couple of other italic nibs which really feel like they're catching and digging into the paper. This one doesn't. I do like this line. We get this gorgeous natural line variation. Final test, my flow test. Then reverse. Absolutely no issues with this pen. So we had that little bit at the start. I think that was down to the fact that during the start of the recording, I've had the cap on and off that many times that it dried the nib out a little bit. Move the page up. And we'll have a go now with the Ranga Santa. So we've got here a Ranga Santa. It's got a 1.1 nib on it. I say it's a Yoho nib. 145 Aussie dollars. The ink is by Diamine. as we already said, it's the exact same ink. So it's Wild Strawberry. Drying times, immediate, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute. Still quite wet there. Let's do a 2-minute test. Two minutes, the teeniest bit of a smudge coming off the end there. Just for the full picture, the temperature here is 23 centigrade and it's 50% humidity. Just going to move the mic down to the page and write a sentence. This one is a little bit smoother than I was getting with that cursive italic. Still got feedback. There's more audible feedback, but I feel there's less tactile feedback. Still enjoyable to write with though. Flow test. And then reverse. Again, keeps it really well. So that's the Ranga Santa. So what are my thoughts for these pens? So my thoughts, let's start with pen looks. With the 9056. It's a wooden pen. It's nice. I do like the natural look of wooden pens. I think they're very attractive. It's that standard cigar shape. So, you know, fairly standard looking pen. Quite nice there. The Ranga Santa. If you're using this in December, you know, around that Christmas period, maybe if you celebrate Christmas in July, perfect combination. Beauty about this though, you could actually use it any time of the year. There's nothing overly Christmassy about it. It's the name, yes. It's the colours, yes. But there's no like Christmas decoration. So you could get away with this any time of year as your sacrificial red pen. And I do quite like this Wild Strawberry in here. Build quality. I've had the Jinhao a couple of years. With the Jinhao nib that came with it, I did notice that it used to dry out a lot. Now, I think this is more to do with the cap. Hopefully this light will work. This is an LED light. If I put the light in here, you can see the cap is lined. So there's a plastic lining. You know, you can see if I can get it into the camera. Let me see if I can get this better so you can actually see in the camera. I can see it really well, but whether you can or not. But yeah, we've got like a plastic lining all the way in there. I've just knocked the camera so it might be shaking a little bit. That does, I think, help prevent it drying out a little bit, but I do notice I do get some dry outs. And I've noticed this with a lot of wooden pens. If they've not got a good lining, they dry out very quickly. But build quality, yeah, no issues with it. With the Ranga, again, absolutely no issues. Had this 18 months, used it a number of times. I did use it outside of the Christmas period as well as inside. The threads are nice and smooth, even though we're going plastic on plastic. Altogether, both of them good quality pens. Writing. Well, writing is where we start to see a little bit of a difference. Remember, this isn't the nib that came with it, but the nib on here puts down a much wider downline than what we see with a 1.1 stub. So it may be a 1.3 possibly, as against a 1.1. I also think that the line going across is wider. I didn't do my line variation with the Santa. Let's do that now. So there's going down and then across, down with pressure, slightly wider, across with pressure, not much difference. So when we look at, I say with pressure, we're getting a bit more on the Santa, but I do, of the two, I've got to be honest, I like the line I see with the 9056. It's not catching, it's interesting. It gives gorgeous natural line variation. Put them on the right ones, that'd be a lot better. Comfort, the 9056 to me does feel a little bit short in the hand. Yes, he composed it, but then it feels very back heavy. Remember, this is not a light pen. I do like the width of the section width, very nice. With the Santa, longer pen, nice length to it. Section though, bit on the narrow side, it feels a bit narrow. Doesn't cause me any issues, I'm just aware of it. And I do like this lip so my finger can't accidentally slip there onto that nib. Then finally, value for money. Well, we're looking at two completely different price ranges, aren't we? A $20 Chinese pen versus a $145 Indian pen. You can't really put them into the same category in terms of value for money. That 9056 is always going to beat it in terms of absolute cost. In terms of what you're getting though, the 9056, the nib that came with it was inconsistent. It was easy to swap, but build into that, 15, 20, whatever extra dollars for a replacement nib. The beauty though, it's number 6 nib. You can put any nib you want, so you might be able to take a nib from another pen. The Ranga Santa, as I said, this came with a Yoho, a lot more money, but I think in terms of what it's aimed for that Christmas period. It's beautiful, it's perfect. So I think they're both actually really good value for money. So these are my thoughts on the Jinhao 9056 and the Ranga Santa. Now it's over to you. Head on over to the YouTube community page. There you'll find a poll where you can pick the winner of heat number 4. That poll will close when I do my YouTube live on Sunday of next week, and that's when on the YouTube live we'll announce the winner. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. What are your thoughts on these pens? Which one do you think should be the winner? Head on over to my YouTube community page. There you can cast your vote for the winning pen. I'll close the votes in a week's time, so when I do my live next Sunday, and then announce the winner. Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.